So hello and welcome to this speaking course and module 1 of the speaking course. You're very welcome. My name's Chris and I'm going to be taking you through this module and the other 11 modules and taking you through the complete speaking course to help you get the scores that you need in the speaking test. So the very first thing I want to do is just welcome you to this speaking course. It's a privilege for me to be able to help people out and to help you get the scores that you need, and I really appreciate you joining this course, and I'll do everything I can to help you out and help you get the scores that you need. First thing I'll just say is lots of people who have done the other courses have skipped the first module or the first couple of modules. I would really advise you to watch every single module, and there's some really important stuff in every single module, and this one especially. So please don't think that just because it's a welcome and an overview module that you don't need to watch it. It's really important that you watch all of the modules in their entirety and you watch them in order, because there are some crucial things in every single module, and if you miss out on some of these crucial things, it could mean the difference between, say, a 6.5 and a 7 or a 7 and an 8, and that's the last thing that we want to happen. So let's move to see what's in this module. So first we're going to get a quick tour of the course. Then we're going to establish a plan of action. We're going to find out what the speaking test actually is. You might think that you know what the speaking test actually is, but I'm going to tell you what it actually is, and it surprises most people. We're going to look at what the key to success is in the speaking test. Then we're going to move on to the main reasons people struggle to get over a 6.5. Now, nearly all of my students are people who need a 7 or above, so we're going to look specifically at why people get stuck on 6.5. And then we're going to look at how to overcome these problems, so how to make sure that you get a 7 or above. Okay, so you'll see that each module has two things. It has a video lesson and it has a progress check. Some of the modules will have extra videos or extra exercises and things like that. But each module at the core includes the video lesson and the progress check. Now, what I would do is, the first thing I would do is I would have just a quick look around the course and click into all of the different modules, have a look at what's being covered so that you know exactly what's coming up. And as I've already said, it's really important that you do watch every single video module. If you don't, you're risking not getting the score that you need. And the progress checks, they are there to check that you have understood everything in each module. So what you do is you watch the video. You can watch the video as many times as you like. Some people will only need to watch it once, some people will need to watch it 3 or 4 times, and then you do the progress check. If you answer any of the questions in the progress check incorrectly, this means that there's something you haven't understood, and the progress check contains the most important elements, the crucial things. So if you're getting any of the questions in the progress check incorrect, you need to go back and have a look at the video lesson and find out why you got that incorrect. Most of the time you'll get all of the questions in the progress check correct, and you can just move on to the next module. You should also check out the bonuses. So in the top menu, in the main menu, just click on bonuses and have a look in there. It would be a real shame if you missed out on those bonuses, so go in and have a look at them. And if you need any help, all you have to do is just click the help tab in the main menu, and you'll be taken to a frequently asked questions page, and this will answer 99% of your questions. In the past, I just gave people my email address, and this was very time consuming for you guys and time consuming for me, because I was just answering the same questions again and again. So what I've done now is I have this help option where I give you help without you even having to email me. But in the help option, there's also an option for you to contact me as well, just in case there's that 1% of questions that aren't covered. Okay, so very important that you start with a plan of action. First thing you should do is download the VIP study plan and the progress checklist. You can do this by clicking on the essential documents and download the VIP study plan and the progress checklist. So it's really, really important that you plan out your study. This is crucial. It's really, really important that you do this. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for you to do this. Now, why is it important? Now, everybody has different amounts of time that they have to dedicate to study. And by time, I don't just mean the amount of time between now and when your test is. I mean the amount of time each day that you're going to be able to fully focus on improving your speaking. So if you are a student who only has 3 hours of classes a week, this is going to be very different from, say, a working mum who also, is a nurse and only has 1 hour per day after she comes home from work and, puts her kids to bed. They're two completely different people. So what you need to do is sit down and figure out honestly, realistically, how many hours a day you have to study. And this is going to change day to day. On a Monday you might be really busy, but a Wednesday you have free. Weekends you might have completely free. So what you need to do is just figure out how many hours you have between now and your test. And then what you can do is you can realistically put in your tasks, the things that you need to do, the things that you need to practice before your test. And if you do that, it becomes much more manageable, and you won't have this huge goal in front of you. Maybe your goal is 7.5, maybe your goal is 8. If you think about that is it's very intimidating. But if you break it down into small things that you need to do every day, then it becomes much more manageable. And the second thing is it's just better to organize your time. And when you organize things and write it down on paper, and put it into a calendar, it's more likely that you'll do it. It stops people procrastinating. Procrastinating means that you put things off, because what people naturally do is they say, oh, I'll do it next week, or I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it next month. And then what happens is you have 3 days before your test and you have to do everything in 3 days or 4 days. But it's better to just do a little bit every day, and you'll improve a little bit every day, and that will really help you out. So the next point is everybody learns in different ways. Please don't look at the 12 modules and think, oh my god, there's no way that I'm going to be taking in this amount of information. If you just look at one module at a time, it is very manageable. And what you have to appreciate is some people will be able to just watch the module and take everything in and understand absolutely everything. Some people, like me, when I've done online courses, I need to watch it 2 or 3 times. When I hear something for the first time, my brain takes it in and doesn't really understand it, but when I watch it 2 or 3 times, I understand things much better. So don't think that just because you watch one module and you don't understand everything, or you feel overwhelmed, or you think that you're not capable of doing it, just relax. Everybody learns at different paces and in different ways. You will get everything eventually. One thing that I am very good at is breaking things down into very simple, easy to understand elements. So what I will do in this course is I will make everything as easy to understand as possible. But if you don't get something, don't panic. And we also have the support in the Facebook group, and you can contact me if you ever need any help. But one tip that I would give you is keep a notebook. So it doesn't have to be a fancy notebook. It can just be, a notebook that you get for $1 or $2 in your local shop. And keep that notebook just for this course. So open the first page, write module 1 at the top of that page, and make notes. So you don't have to write absolutely everything that I say down, but if anything you think is either important or something that you think you will forget or something that is confusing, write it down. And feel free to pause and stop the videos at any time to make notes. I can't emphasize how important this is. Lots of students who have been in my other courses, they get confused and they ask questions and they're really worried about things, and I ask them, well, just look at your notebook and review the things that you've looked at, and they were like, oh, I didn't keep a notebook, I didn't think I would need it. And the students that tend to do really well, and the students that don't need to ask me any questions, because they have this notebook of all the most important things. So please try to do that. And it will really, really help you out. So the most important thing also is you have to practice as much as possible. Please don't think that all you will have to do is just watch these videos and your speaking is going to improve. That is impossible. And there is no way that you can join any course in the world and just watch the videos and then get better. I am going to raise your awareness. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. I'm going to tell you so many things that are going to help you, but it's up to you to take those things and put them into practice. And I can't emphasize enough how important this is, that you take what you have learned in each module and you practice it as much as you can. So lots of people ask me the question, how much time should I, or how much should I practice? How much time should I devote to practice? Just as much as you can. Obviously, don't, sleep 2 hours a day for the next 6 weeks and practice 20 hours a day or something like that. But as much as you can. And one way that you can practice more is just give up your leisure time. So your leisure time includes things like, playing sports, watching TV, socializing with friends, things like that. For the next however long it is that you're going to be preparing for IELTS, give up those things. I mean, if you give up, think about how much time you spend on Facebook, playing computer games, watching TV, reading books, talking to friends, talking to family, things like that. For the next however many weeks or months it is that you're going to be preparing for IELTS, don't be doing those things and instead practice. And again, I just want to emphasize, I've mentioned this again, but don't worry if you don't get everything first time. You won't get everything first time. When you're practicing, you're going to be making mistakes. I'm going to show you how to practice by yourself and practice with other people, and you will make mistakes. Failure and failing and making mistakes is how you're going to learn. Without making mistakes, without failing, without making lots of errors, you're not going to learn from them. So every time that you do make a mistake, or you don't quite get the thing or do the thing as well as you could, my advice would be to embrace that, to be happy about that, because that means that you're going to learn from it, and that's how you're going to improve. So don't worry if you make mistakes or you don't get everything first time. So what is the IELTS speaking test? Now, I am sure that you know the format of it and you know exactly what's coming up. You've probably done the test already 2 or 3 times. So what I'm going to do is just show you quickly what the format is, and then I'm going to reveal the kind of secret to you about what the test actually is. So the test is divided into 3 parts. Part 1, questions about you. Part 2, you have to speak for up to 2 minutes about a certain topic. And part 3, more abstract questions related to the same general topic you talked about in part 2. So that's pretty simple, and we're not going to dwell on that too much. You probably know that already. So most people know that the test is divided into 3 parts and what those 3 parts are and everything like that. But what we have to focus on is, more importantly, you have to know what the speaking test is not. Most people have an idea in their head about what the speaking test actually is, and most people are completely wrong. They have a misunderstanding of what it is. So, it is not an intelligence, knowledge, or IQ test. It is a speaking test. I'll repeat that. It is not an intelligence, knowledge, or IQ test. It is a speaking test. This statement, I'm going to repeat this many, many times throughout the 12 modules. And if you don't quite understand it yet, By the end of the 12 modules, you will. Most people think that you have to have either high intelligence or IQ, or you have to have lots of knowledge about the topics that come up in the speaking test, when you don't need to know anything really about the topics at all. You're tested on fluency, pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. That's it. That's what the speaking test is. It is a test of your speaking. And speaking is made up of 4 elements: fluency, pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, and that's it. So if you hear any advice from your friends or a teacher, or you read it in a book or read it on a website or a YouTube video, if it's not related to fluency, pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar, don't listen to it. These are the 4 things, and the only 4 things that you need to worry about. And we're going to talk about this much more in the next modules. So, the key to success is this. The key to success is fluency and coherence. So, fluency and coherence are marked together. Pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. These 5 things are the only things you need to worry about. That's it. So everything you do from now until your test should be related to one of these 5 things. Nothing else matters. So next we're going to look at the main reasons why people fail. Most people I speak to have a very good grasp of English and are able to hold a conversation in English without too many problems at all. I'm able to understand everything they say and communicate freely with them. So, this is exactly what the examiners want. The examiners want to be able to communicate freely with the person that they're speaking to, understand everything they say, and be confident that the person has a very good grasp of English. Now, if you're doing that, then you're into the 7s and the 8s and the 9s. These are the traits that the examiner's looking for. So, why, when I speak to most of my students, are they like this, but they fail to get a 7 or above? And this is the question that I've been asking myself for years. And I think I found the solution to it. But when I first started teaching, it really annoyed me that I had so many good students who were able to communicate with me without any problems, but were getting 6.5 in their speaking test, and I couldn't understand it. So the problem is something I call test mode. What happens when this person who can speak freely, has a very good grasp of English, and they go into the test and they do very badly? What happens when they go into test mode? So the first thing is they get very stressed. What happens when you get very stressed? Well, when you get very stressed, parts of your brain, and the parts of your brain associated with thinking and logic and speech and pronunciation and ideas and everything, they don't work very well. Think about it, if you have ever been in a very stressful situation, like speaking in public or speaking to the opposite sex, if you were asking a girl or a boy out for a date and you feel very stressed, or when the teacher asks you a question in class, you tend not to speak very well, you tend not to think very well. So stress is kind of the enemy here, and we want to minimize stress as much as possible. People also, when they go into test mode, they become very, very formal, and they don't speak in a normal way. They speak in a very overly formal way, and we're going to look at why this is a problem in the next slide. They also think intensely about every single answer. So when I speak to people normally in class or outside class, and I ask them a question, they normally instantly give me an answer. But what happens in a test when people go into test mode is they think a lot about each answer. And this is a big problem, and we're going to talk about why this is a problem. They also try to impress the examiner with high-level grammar and vocabulary. Now, most students do this, and it's not your fault. You've just had bad teachers or had bad advice, or because you know that grammar and vocabulary is an important part of getting a high score, you try to use this high level grammar and vocabulary, and this is a big problem. It's very counterproductive. It results in the opposite of what you're trying to do. And they also focus on sounding very, very clear. So they know that pronunciation is important. So what they do is they say every word very clearly and talk like this, to make sure that, the examiner is giving them good marks for pronunciation, but this causes problems also. So this test mode, I think these are the 5 main problems that are caused. There are other problems, but the other problems aren't as common as these ones. So let's look at the result of these 5 things. So you make lots of small mistakes due to stress. So if you're stressed out, what happens is you can't think of the correct grammar, the correct vocabulary, and you can't think of good ideas, and you're inevitably going to be making lots and lots of small mistakes. And these small mistakes are what separate out people getting 6 and people getting 7 or above. You also speak like a robot. So this is the best way that I can describe this, is when somebody is speaking normally and then they go into test mode and they talk like this. My name is Chris and I am from Ireland. I am an IELTS teacher. So they speak like a robot or a computer. And that's not how normal people speak. And that's a very bad thing in the speaking test. They also have lots of hesitation, repetition, and pauses. So hesitation is when you don't speak freely like that. Repetition is when you repeat the same thing again and again. And pauses are like that. There's silence in the room. You're pausing. You're thinking about that. Now again, very bad in the speaking test. And we're going to look at the effect that these things have on your mark on the next slide. They also include an unusually high amount of inappropriate grammar and phrases. So this is coming from when people try to use very high level language, and they use these very strange grammar structures and tenses and phrases and idioms and things like this that just are inappropriate and just sound weird, and actually do the opposite. Like, some people think that inserting idioms into your test is going to get you a higher score. It will if you use them appropriately and accurately, but if you don't, then it's actually going to lower your score. And they also ignore higher level pronunciation features at the expense of clarity. So higher level pronunciation features are things like intonation, connected speech, sentence stress, word stress, rhythm, all of these different higher level pronunciation features. But when you are talking like this and you are trying to sound very clear, the higher level pronunciation features kind of go out the window. They get ignored. So this is the result, and let's look at what the result of this is for your score. So make lots of small mistakes due to stress. You get a 6 for grammar, 6 for vocabulary. Speak like a robot, 6 for fluency, pronunciation. Lots of hesitation, repetition, and pauses, 6 for fluency. Include an unusually high amount of inappropriate grammar and phrases, vocabulary phrases and words and things like that, 6 for grammar and vocabulary. Ignore higher level pronunciation features at the expense of clarity, 6 for pronunciation. So if you say you even get 7 for grammar and 7 for vocabulary, but you're getting 6 for pronunciation and 6 for fluency, you're getting a 6.5. So any of these things that you're doing, and I guarantee that if you're doing this course, you're doing at least one of these things, it's going to cause a huge problem, and it will mean the difference between a 6.5 and a 7, or if you want higher, a 7 and a 7.5, or 7.5 and 8. These are going to drag you down. So how can we solve these problems? So the first problem, or the first way that we can solve this, is obviously through preparation. And this is what this course is for. The more you're prepared, the more confident you will feel. So what I'm going to do in this course is I'm going to prepare you fully for the test. And when you sit down on in the test on test day, you know that no matter what question comes up or what happens or what topic, you will be fully prepared. You will have all of the ideas, all of the grammar, all of the vocabulary. You'll be fully confident when it comes to fluency and pronunciation, and this is going to reduce stress. If you have less stress in the test, you're going to perform much better. It's as simple as that. And the second thing that's related to this is you relax. The examiner is not a recording device. They are human. So lots of people who I do speaking tests with, what I do is I have a chat with them before we do the test, and they speak very naturally and very fluently, and they don't make any grammar and vocabulary mistakes, and then their pronunciation is very natural. And as soon as I say, okay, we're beginning the test now, they tense up and they speak to me like I'm a computer or I'm an iPhone recording their test. They don't speak to me like a human being. So I know that it's very difficult to tell someone relax. When somebody tells you to relax, you do the opposite. But through preparation and through practice, I'm going to help you to relax much more in your test, because it's one of the keys to doing well. And you should treat the exam like a conversation, not a test. The best people that I've ever tested, the band 8s, the band 9s, it didn't feel like a test. It felt like a normal conversation that you would have with a friend or a colleague. The worst tests are when someone is highly stressed, very tense, speaking to me like I'm a recording device, and it doesn't feel like a normal conversation at all. So the more prepared you are, the more relaxed you are, the more the test is going to become like a conversation, not a test. And the examiner is going to love this, because they've been spoken to like a robot by robots for the whole day in the test center. And when you come along and you speak to them like a human being and it feels like a conversation, they're going to be so glad. And this is a very good thing for you. Remember, it is a speaking test, not a knowledge test. So this, again, I'll keep saying this, you are testing your speaking ability, not your knowledge of the topics. So please remember that. And have confidence in your English level. This is related to people using high level vocabulary and grammar. Now, if you're trying to use really high level grammar and vocabulary, what you're really saying is, the grammar and vocabulary that I normally use is not good enough. Now, nothing could be further from the truth. You should have confidence in the grammar and vocabulary that you have. To get a band 7, get a band 8, the grammar and vocabulary that you have to use is well below the level that you think it has to be at. The key here is accuracy more than range. If you're wanting a band 9, then you really have to think about range. But for band 7, band 8, accuracy is far more important. And we're going to talk about all of these things in much more detail. Mimic native English speakers, especially their pronunciation. So you need to worry more about the higher level pronunciation features, intonation, connected speech, sentence stress, word stress, rhythm, things like that, than just sounding clear. 90% of the people that are on this course sound clear. It's not everything they say is pretty clear, and I can understand most things they say. But you need to worry more about those higher level pronunciation features, and you do this by listening to native speakers and copying them. So let's review what we did in this module. We got a tour of the course, we established a plan of action, found out what the speaking test actually is, we looked at the key to success, the main reasons people struggle to get over 6.5, and how to overcome those problems. Now, before you move on to module 2, what I want you to do is I want you to establish your plan of action. I want you to get a notebook so that you can make notes, and I want you to understand what the speaking test actually is, what those main reasons are and how you're going to overcome them. And again, don't worry if you didn't understand everything. We're going to be talking about these things again and again and again throughout the whole course, the whole 12 modules. Okay, so next module, we're going to look at the marking criteria. Very, very important, how to think like an examiner. So by the end of module 2, once you've understood everything in module 2, you'll be able to think like an examiner. And once you get inside the head of the examiner and think like them, then you can give them exactly what they want. So very important. All right, hope you enjoyed the first module, and I look forward to seeing you in module 2. Thank you very much, and see you again. Bye bye.